Welcome to the Roots and Rhythm podcast, where we explore the essence of culture, our experiences, and a healing journey that shapes our growth and family. Through heartfelt stories about marriage, mental health, relationships, and parenting, we create a space where you can find connection, understanding, and inspiration. Join us as we explore the rhythms of life, one story at a time.
What's up, everybody? Yeah, welcome to another episode of the Roots and Rhythm podcast, where we explore the rhythms of life, one story at a time. It's your boy Vlad the Bull, your number one embrace coach, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host, the one and only
Angie, la cyber mommy.
We are in the building. It is July 29th right now. It is almost the end of July. I feel like this entire month has just blown by us.
I saw you once in July, Vlad. Wild.
One time in July.
One time.
That is very low on our quota.
Very low.
So
Y'all's
August is gonna be a lot
Y'all's
more.
was busy. We got together to take our beautiful pictures.
Yeah, shout out to Josie
Yes.
Media TV.
Woo,
If
woo.
you haven't seen it already, check her out. She's the architect behind our beautiful new photos, new website coming soon.
Yes,
We are going to be
yes.
upgrading. You're going to be seeing a lot more of this dynamic duo. So make sure you see that. And before you go any further, this podcast is built specifically for you. So if you like what you hear and you want to see more and you want to be a part, make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash that bell on
Wherever
YouTube.
it is.
And if you're on Buzzsprout and Apple Podcasts or
And
wherever you get your
Spotify.
podcast, Spotify, make sure that you give us a 5-star review and give us some love. Hit us up in the comments. Just want to put that out there because it helps
share.
us get our content to where it needs to be.
Add some comments to the podcast. Share it with your friends. Share it with at least one person per listen.
Yeah, we've been
Do
seeing some
it.
funny podcasts.
Oh my gosh.
some
Funny comments.
So
We did our first real reply today.
Yes.
We were cracking up.
Cracking
Y'all should
up.
go check it out. It's
Check it out.
hilarious on
Look at-
Instagram.
it's a reel that we shared about sharing your phone location.
Yes.
You're talking about Wallace not
Yes.
sharing his phone location with you.
And there was a comment that Instagram hid for whatever reason, but I unhid it because I thought it was hilarious. Somebody just put, he cheating. And people were defending Wallace. So thank you for those that know Wallace. I just put LOL. I was cracking up.
I mean, I came to Wallace's egg, so I'm
Yeah.
like, yo, you're wild. That is my boy. Watch your mouth, okay?
Yeah. But can we just say, sorry to cut you off, Vlad, but can we just say, just because someone doesn't want to share their location, that does not mean that they're cheating. I do not think that at all. That's why I think it's hilarious. But my sister commented and was like, Wallace doesn't want to share his location because then you're going to know where he's at and you're going to send him on a side quest. Facts on facts.
I see that you're in Michigan, in Battle Creek, Michigan. While you're there, can you get a sample of Lake Michigan, please? And,
Right, exactly. I see you're in Philly. Can you bring me a
a
cheesesteak?
Philly cheesesteak, and make sure it's hot when you come home.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So Wallace, for those that don't know, Wallace is always on tour. They have a tour bus. So I would be like, hey, I see that you're near Buc-ee's. Can you go to Buc-ee's for me? Yeah. So that's why Wallace doesn't want my location.
And
Or I don't, he doesn't want to share his location.
Just to set the record straight about my boy Wallace, shout out to the one iota. I mentioned him. We talk about him all the time.
How can we not?
He is a papa, and papa is not a rolling stone.
No.
He is an immovable boulder, okay? So get your lips off of my man.
But it's just funny, Vlad. I mean, create the engagement. Is he cheating? Tell me more. Where did you see him?
Hey.
Tell me.
Please, a completely unrelated topic, but check out the post. Check out our Instagram at Roots and Rhythm Pod. On Instagram at Roots and Rhythm Pod. On TikTok, we are Roots and Rhythm Podcast. On Facebook, if you want to learn more about us, hit up www.rootsandrhythmpodcast.com. If you want to be a guest, let us know. Send us an email at
Yes.
rootsandrhythmpod@gmail.com.
And we're finna get this merch out there, but now I want a shirt that say he cheating.
Oh, my God. Don't do that. You're going to create a whole lot of rachateras up in here. Speaking about cheating, that actually is a good, I guess, as good a segue as we can.
Come on.
Into our main topic. Today, we are discussing the loneliness pandemic.
Epidemic.
Is it a pandemic? Is it an epidemic?
What is it?
We would like for it to be endemic, but we're talking about that. We're going to be discussing why adults are so lonely in 2026.
Even with so much connection.
Even with so much connection, we have social media, which connects people to continents, countries, family members. People are finding their estranged, their long-lost
Right.
family members and friends from yesteryear on social media. So if we're so inundated with ways for us to be connected, Andrew, why are we so lonely?
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have a special segment about the male loneliness epidemic, which my co-host doesn't seem
Shit's
to
mad
think
fake.
holds much water. Okay, all right. We're good.
Put that on a shirt. Shit's mad fake.
Shit's mad fake. Okay, I'm not co-signing. I just think it sounds nice. Shit's mad fake. Okay, so when we talk about loneliness, sis, what are we talking about? So it seems as though I'm just going to read some statistics here.
Okay.
Over half of Americans report feeling isolated or lacking companionship, at least some of the time, right? And check this out. About 69% of adults say they needed more emotional support than they received in the past year, okay? So what is going on that could make people feel lonely? I mean, it's like you take your pick, sis. It's inflation, world chaos, wars erupting. People don't even know where their next meals are coming from. Families being stretched thin, isolation from family. So what is loneliness defined as for you? When you think of the word lonely, what does that mean for you?
Well, to me, it's that you're by yourself and you think you're the only one going through something. And I think as we get older, it's just the American way is to like kind of isolate, like, oh, we all we got, like me and my little tribe, me and my immediate, like super immediate family. So you don't try to bring other people in because you're afraid maybe of judgment, maybe that they're going to think you're weak because you need help of some sort. But it happens as we get older because if you think about it, Vlad, when you're a kid, if you have siblings, cousins, you're around people all the time, there's no way you can feel lonely. You're always with your parents. You're at school constantly. You're always in activities. You're always doing something. If you go away to college, you have built-in friends. You have roommates. You have your classes. It's like you're automatically always put into circles of community. Like you're automatically doing that. But then once you get into adulthood, you graduate, get a job. If you're not in community with like either the people at your job or you go home to an empty house, what are you doing? Like there's not those built-in friend circles anymore. So you have to create them.
It's actually funny you mentioned that, right? Because according to statistics and some studies here, roughly 20% of U.S. adults report having no close friends outside of family. That can be incredibly relevant when we talk about things like intimate partner violence and domestic violence. One of the classic signs and classic attributes of a controller is isolation only to the immediate family that you created. And so, for me, I learned about loneliness quite early in life. And I learned that being lonely doesn't necessarily mean that you're physically alone, right? It can mean that you can be in a room full of people and still feel alone. And that may feel like you could be in a room full of people, but none of them make you feel safe. You could be in a room full of people, but nobody really knows what's going on with you internally. You can be in a house full of people, and all of you, and I've lived this, all of you can be on different pains. Like it was not abnormal for me to be parked in front of that tube TV in that dining room when my parents were growing up. And my brother was upstairs in his room with his comics and his artwork. And my mother was selling Avon and she over here. And my dad's either on a walk, he's next door talking to his family, or he's just not there, or he's in his room watching Judge Judy.
You're siloed. So you're together, but you're all in your individual silos versus doing life together.
Right. And what's interesting about that is that when you look at my family as a case study, and I believe that everybody should make a case study out of their family. I'm not telling you to pathologize your family. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that if you want an understanding of how your existence is contextualized in your relationships, and perhaps you don't feel comfortable opening up to your partner, it is, if it's ingrained in you to kind of be by yourself, stay by yourself, communicate with yourself, and you're the only person that can hold you accountable and keep you safe, it might actually help to look at your family and examine and make them a case study. Try to understand that. But I say that to say, next door, that's how my dad's siblings lived. Like between 8 and 10, maybe between 6 and 10 a.m., everybody next door, my aunts, my uncles, are all by the table in the kitchen talking smack, and they were all drinking coffee, and that's the only time they get together until somebody says something that rubs somebody the wrong way. And then everybody disperses, right? And then they would stay apart for hours at a time. So there would be a little bit more activity at lunch, and then there would be absolutely no activity for hours. Everyone's just dead silent in there. No lights on anywhere in the apartment.
Yeah,
right?
so if there wasn't a purpose to be together, it's like, why even try?
Right.
Yeah.
So everybody's got to get together to eat. But even sometimes in some families, that's not even a thing, right?
Yeah.
There are families, I'm going to pull up the stat here somewhere, but there are families that don't even eat together. You realize that, right? They don't even sit down
and that's
eat
very
together.
wild to me, because even in my own family dysfunction of my dad, like not really, like, you know, he was just so tired and busy and cranky, we still had to all sit there and eat together. You know, even if no one talked, even if he didn't want to hear us breathe, we were sitting at a table together.
Well, that's generational too, right?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, because we had an old ass dad, so he wanted us there again, even if he was just like no talking. We're like, oh shit.
Wait. So you'd actually sit at the table and your dad would be like, no talking.
Yeah, sometimes.
I just want to hear the clang clang of the fork.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But that was the thing, right? But he wanted us all together. Like that was like the thing. Like you ate dinner together.
So let me ask you this. Even if you weren't talking, do you feel like that helped you in your development? Did that stick with you?
No, because it was just
like,
you're not asking about my day. We're not like, you know.
So were you guys just sitting there like
eating our food, trying to eat as fast as you can so you get the fuck out of there?
that is, well, you know what? It's interesting because I remember my dad, he would whenever we had birthday parties, I see pictures of us together, like my dad, my brother, and I at birthday parties, and I'm like, when did that happen? Because I don't remember that shit. Because oftentimes if it was a birthday party or if it were a holiday, my dad would walk right past our dining room table, exit the apartment, and go next door.
Oh my gosh!
And I remember I used to ask my mom, why can't dad just sit with us and have a meal? Why?
Yeah.
Because that's the only time that all of us would be sitting at a table together. Like during the week, yo, bro, it was me, my mom, my brother. I would be taking a fork and running somewhere, and then Serge would be taking a fork and running somewhere, and then we'd hear the clang clang of that belt buckle, and then we'd all eat like we weren't eating ever again.
Yeah.
But then we wouldn't eat again together. Like we weren't at a table together, is what I'm saying. So it's interesting to see that that was a part of your upbringing.
And you know what, I say that no, I hated it, but who knows, Vlad, if like subconsciously I did need that, like, oh, we're a family, you're supposed to eat together, but at that moment, me remembering what I do remember, I hated it. I'm like, oh, I gotta freaking sit here, he's cranky, and we gotta just be here, you know what I mean?
So do you feel like your dad was just distracted, tired, exhausted?
He was an old man with little kids, like who, you know.
So how on an off topic real quick, how vibrant was your dad, right? Because when we talk about
he used to be vibrant when we were little.
So by the time you remember these forced
it's because
feedings.
by the time I remember the forced feedings, we all had opinions, and he hated that because we all would talk back to him. He couldn't control us as much as he wanted to. But when we were little, I remember like he was fun, and I think I shared this story of when we were still in Dominican Republic, that he'd come home and like he'd like randomly throw like crabs on the ground and make us run away, and like take us different places and show us all the animals. Like
how fast do the crabs move, by the way? Just
Oh, when you're little, they're like freaking cheetahs trying to grab you, but they don't move that fast.
I was going to say, my mom did the same thing, but she would hold them and be like, ah. Now, I told my mom this story, and she was like, Vlad, why are you telling everybody that I chase you with crustaceans? I didn't do that. And I was like, yeah, you did.
They forget.
My mom would take this crab and be like, Vlad, look at this. I'm like, ah. And I'd run around. Anyway.
Listen, you ask any parent, any Caribbean parent, yeah, you used to beat your kids. I never did that. I loved my children, and it's like, okay, you loved me and also did to me what was done to you.
Two things can be true at once.
Come on,
you know,
but they forget.
I made a video a while ago about corporal punishment and why we should not be doing it with our children. And my mom heard it. She didn't talk to me about it. She saw it, simmered on it, and then, as she typically does, ambushes me on the phone and is like, Vladimir, you're talking about us hitting you. What about us? Like if I did to you what my parents did to me, then you wouldn't be talking. If I hit you once, I didn't hit you twice. I'm like, okay.
And these are also the
Right.
same parents, Vlad, that now that they have grandkids, it's like, oh, don't do that to the baby. Don't talk to the baby like that. Don't do that. And it's like, I literally just told them to stop doing something. You would have thrown me against the wall.
Yo, I tell Lito all the time, like, yo, bro, you have no idea how much restraint
This ain't
is
the
being
same.
Exercised.
Exactly.
Our parents did not have restraints.
This ain't the same. Your grandma is not the same woman that raised me. Okay?
This is like my mom took her brain and put it in a different body, and then this is not the same person.
This is an older woman trying to get into heaven. Okay?
Oh, come on.
Not the young whippersnapper mom I
Oh,
had.
they're trying to get some Jesus points.
Right, because I had an old ass daddy, but I had a regular aged mom. Okay,
Right,
she was like 25.
Right.
Okay, but no,
They're trying to get them some brownie points. You know what I mean?
Exactly,
Some extra
with
credit.
the grandkids. Exactly.
So here's a question for you, Angie. Bringing it back to modern day,
Yes,
are people actually lonely or are they disconnected?
I think they're lonely because they feel that that's the way they need to be. They don't want to be burdens. Again, the village is kind of dead. Not everyone has a village, Vlad, where they can and I don't want to say dump their problems, but that's what they feel like they're doing. If I come to you and I'm like, hey, I need help. Hey, can you listen to me about this? They're thinking, and I've been guilty of this, I don't want to bother you because you have your own problems.
Well, especially when it comes to our friends in our village, maybe not so much, but when you have kids, you're very easily isolated is what I'm saying, especially when you have young kids. We went to go visit our friends who just had a new baby boy.
Yes.
He's the smushiest little face. You see
The
him, I don't
babies.
know if for those of us y'all in the audience, do you remember
The little baby smell.
before that little boy became dismembered? No, I'm playing. But if you can remember them trying to lift their little head up and crashing on you, I was just holding it. I'm like, this is great, but here you go.
Yeah.
Because I like my sleep. But yeah, I don't even know where I was going with that.
About are we lonely or disconnected? And then you went and saw the baby.
Yeah. So I felt their pain because you know how it is. You just tell me Aria woke up at 4:30 just yapping the other day, but that's very different than when she woke up screaming
every
crying
2 hours
every
for
2
titty.
hours
Yeah.
it's titty time.
Right.
It's titty time.
Feed me.
So that's inherently isolating. And imagine the people whose kids don't ever sleep through the night until they're like 15. And I'm being dead serious.
No,
we
facts.
we know people whose children do not sleep through the night.
Yeah.
And they got a mortgage. Like, can you please?
It's a different life. People that
Yeah.
aren't getting sleep live a very different life than those of us that do sleep consistently. Obviously there's days where your kid is sick, they might wake up, whatever. They just want to talk or they just want you. Aria. And they just want to yap at 4:30. But it's very different lives, right? And that's okay because people have different sleep needs.
Yeah.
But I could not function.
I guarantee you, every newborn parent has sleep needs that are not being met. Which actually is a great segue into another thought that I had about people investing in friendships. So in a previous episode, we talked about people investing in friendships in order to keep those friendships alive through life's many challenges and many transformations. Nothing transforms a friendship more than when one parent or one friend becomes a parent and the other one is still in a different phase of life, right? And so when we think about this question of why do people stop investing in friendships, I don't know if it's a conscious decision to stop investing in friendships more than it is priorities shift and you start prioritizing your relationships that are relatable versus the other ones. It's not to say that my single friends don't have utility, right? We've talked about this. But yo, bro, if I can't talk to you about Lito's diarrhea that he had 4 days ago and what it feels like to be staring at your kid's junk covered in mud, that's just normal talk.
Yeah.
I guarantee you will not find people on this earth who talk more about poop than parents of toddlers, okay?
I never thought I'd talk about poop as much.
Your dog. Like, we don't, it was just an unsaid thing, but when you're going through it, you're going through it. So, but that being in mind, why do you think people in general stop investing in friendships over time?
Because I think sometimes it feels transactional and they don't want that. But I feel like just relationships in general are transactional.
Yeah.
Like, just like in a bank, I'm not going to get out of the bank anything I don't put in the bank.
Right. The bank will take your money,
and then
hold it, and then lend it out for 10 times as much.
So if I'm not putting it in, how am I expected to get it out when I need it? Right. And that's, I feel like, the type of friend that I try to be. I try to be there for as many people as I can. If I have the capacity, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I have the capacity and I'm able
Capacity pending.
Yes. If I can, I will, because I know, one, that they need it. And if I can, why not? Like, I love you. And if I love you, that's what I'm going to try to do. In that same regard, I know that there's people, when I need it, that they'll be there for me too.
Right.
You know? And I also think that that's why people sometimes don't feel like they should, maybe because they feel like they haven't been putting in that deposit. So who am I to go and try to get from the Bank of Vlad when I haven't been giving to the Bank of Vlad?
Well, see, that's the thing too, though, is that often, well, this actually doesn't happen often. I don't know how often it happens, but becoming a parent obviously shifts your world in many ways, right? And so sometimes what happens is our single friends, my cousin actually did a post about this, I think a couple of years ago, and her and I had a chat. The single friends sometimes will be, I don't want to say jealous, but they misunderstand the lack of or the change in communication.
Yeah. I
might not be available to just hop along a log with you and stand in a line and go to a club. That's not something I want to do anymore. Or if it's not a kid-friendly activity, then I really can't come. You know what I mean? It becomes harder for you, especially if in those early phases, for you to have that individuality, because it depends so much. Your household depends so much on cooperation. So sometimes the single friends may be like, "Oh, well, you changed. You changed. Like you want to come out no more. You don't want to hang out no more. We can't talk about this. We can't go watch the football games during football season. You know, Super Bowl Sunday, all this stuff. We can't do this. You don't want to talk on me with the phone no more for all these hours." And it's like, yo, bruh, have you ever tried talking to me with my son in the car?
Yeah. Priorities shift, but that doesn't mean that you can't do those things. It's just going to look different. Like, oh, I can't go with you to the bar to watch the game, but why don't you come over? I'm going to put homeboy to sleep, and then we could watch it here. You know, it's just like kind of creating those things. But in the same regard, Vlad, I think sometimes as parents, we also forget that our single friends are doing things too. So we also have to deposit. Like, we can't expect them to realize we have a kid, and then we're not realizing that they're also having a life without kids for right now. So we should celebrate them too. Oh, they don't have kids, but they just got promoted at work. We should acknowledge that, take them out, or what, you know what I'm saying? Like, we should also be depositing into them. Just because they don't have kids, that doesn't mean that the friendship can be there. It's just going to look different.
Well, yeah, and sometimes if two people can't come together on that until both of them are kind of in the same pain, that'll happen. But that also happens outside of parenthood, right? There are times where friendships shift simply because one friend takes a job in another city, or they're moving in a different direction in their career, or their sense of moral reasoning changes. Maybe their faith changes. Maybe their affinity to certain activities and what they find enjoyable changes, right? And so they consciously choose to divest from a relationship because it's just simply not something that stimulates them anymore, right? And that is okay. You've actually been really good about reminding me that it is okay to have a friendship shift, to let it shift. But in the lens of loneliness, I think about social media a lot. And the reason why I think about social media is because we opened up this episode in saying how we're so connected in so many different ways: Instagram, Facebook, X. Okay, we don't. I'm on X, but X on X. Okay, but we're connected in all these different ways. Yet we're so disconnected because loneliness seems to be an increasing problem for people, right? So, how do you think that social media is affecting the way that we stay or even make new friends and remain connected?
I think it's because social media for a lot of accounts is just the highlight reel. So if you're not having all these highlights, you're thinking that you're behind. You don't want to be a part of that. you're not at the same level. It kind of like you're doing like self-deprecation because you're like, dang, I have 2 kids. Why do I feel so overwhelmed when this person goes on vacation, has them in all the sports, has them in all these things? But it's like,
real.
you know what I'm saying? But they're only posting the good stuff. I'm guilty of that too. Do you really think I'm going to post Arya having a meltdown at pickup? Or am I going to post her smiling? I'm going to post her smiling with her sister at the park. Like, which one do you think I'm going to post?
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. And I don't even post the kids like that. I only post them on stories. But I'm not going to post the most terrible part of my day.
Right. I mean, first of all, I don't even want to be in this most terrible part of my day. So why the hell am I?
Why would I share that with you? Share my misery.
Yeah, and then put it in a caption like, "Hey, yo, team, this sucks." Like, don't nobody got time for that.
No.
Right?
So I think that's why too. So social media does that, but that's why I think it's so important to communicate with your circle the good and the bad, because if you're only seeing the good, you don't know that there is bad. And I'm not saying put your melting down children online. Like, I think that's like the worst thing you could do.
Yeah, for real.
But share it with your friends. Like, I've texted Vlad before, and I even, like today, I was like, bro, I barely slept last night. Let me tell you what Arya did. So he knows, like, that if it happened to him, like, he can come to me and be like, yo, what did you do when Arya did that? Lito just did it today. You know, so we're having those conversations and sharing the good and the bad.
Well, that's a good point. And I also, to add to that, Angie, I think there's an unsaid rule, right? There's an unsaid understanding around social media, whereas you almost feel like because you're so connected on social media, you don't have to make that concerted effort to connect in person anymore. Because
but it's so important.
Hey, listen, man. Like, how many times have you heard a conversation where they're like, hey, listen, I like all your posts, but you don't want to come to my wedding? Like, what's up with that? It's like, the fuck, we never even talk.
Yeah.
We don't never talk.
Our relationship is just reels. Yeah.
You send me a message because I sent you a reel and you think it's funny, or we're talking about LeBron going to Philly. Another
it's like
episode.
The parasocial relationship, because it's only on social media.
Parasocial relationship.
And sometimes
Digging
it's
on more on that.
and it's like sometimes one way. Like, just because we were cool 20 years ago, and I'm talking like high school cool, right? 20 years ago.
High school cool.
Yeah, you're high school cool, and we connected on Facebook, Instagram, whatever. That doesn't mean that you've ever met my kids. You know what I mean? But it's like, we can get there. But again, to me, it's more like this. Like, we're here, we're there, we're together in person, creating those memories, being together. But that's not going to happen unless we put ourselves out there and have that, you know, one-on-one relationship this way, not on social media.
So do you think to that end that social media is ruining or eroding the fabric of relationships that would otherwise be healthy if you just did it the way we used to do it before?
Yes and no. I think social media plays a part. Like, people have communities and build communities on social media, and I don't want to take away the good parts about social media. But I think when you're talking about like your village and the core group of people that are helping you through this on the day to day, it has to be in person. Like, that's what leads to the loneliness, because where is social media when you're crying on the floor in your bathroom at 3 a.m. because you haven't slept in 2 days?
But yeah, and
they can't come check on you.
That's a really good point. And to add to that in person, and we are post COVID, all right? So I want to hear it. I know that a lot of y'all are still working from home, but that doesn't mean that you have to work from home or commute to your relationships, right? That builds anticipation. Me knowing that I'm gonna go see my boy David. Like, we had a little play date, you know, and screw y'all, but we had a little play date, because I know y'all be looking at me like, look at this Negro's having a play date. He's a good friend. Yeah, I know y'all see the video, man. But you know what I'm saying? So
we like play dates.
Yeah, listen, we have play. That's that's in our lexicon, okay? We parents, we just having play dates. But that built anticipation. We said, okay, I'm gonna see you. I'm not gonna have you on Zoom. I'm gonna go to your house. I'm on my way to your house, thinking about, I'm gonna hang out with my friend today.
Yeah,
it's been a great time, and then we're gonna do things together. We can dap up. We can, you know what I mean? So to that end, I think that the proliferation of social media, maybe not for us, because we remember what it was like to have to memorize your best friend's phone number, to have to know, like, I don't know if you had caller ID growing up.
We didn't, and then we did.
Okay, so we didn't, and then we did too. And so all you would see is, shout out my boy Tony. He and I still speak every day, if not multiple times throughout the week. Anthony Barrasso. Anthony Barrasso. Like, it would just be calling. And my mom was like, who the hell is this kid? I'm like, Mom, you know Tony. She said, oh, yeah, it's him. Tell me to stop calling my damn phone, bro. Like, I got, we don't have call waiting. We only have one way, okay? But we know what it's like. But I'm concerned that this new generation of kids, the Gen Zs, we're millennials, the Gen Z, the Gen Alphas, our kids. I mean, that's a reason why we like to have our kids together, right? WhatsApp calls are great.
Yeah.
Like we did that, I think, a week ago or so,
Yeah.
whatever. But the
They be
kids
missing each
together,
other.
that's how relationships are born and bred, right? So yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, social media has its utility. I would love to see the world have a little less social media for a season.
Yeah, just for a little while. And I think with the kids, it's good for them not to have social media, but see how long you can go without getting them a phone.
Is it weird? In my mind, I don't see Lito having a phone anytime in the concernable future.
No. I think maybe at like 16, 17, if they start driving. And even then, why do you need a phone?
Well, what's difficult is that with a phone is, especially with a smartphone, if your kid is acting up and they want to turn their cell phone off or they want to ignore your calls, guess what, boo? I'm running up on you. Share your location.
They cheating.
They cheating on this parental relationship.
I know. It's so hard because I know we had an episode about raising our kids like in the 90s. And the only reason I got a phone in 9th grade was because I was in band and we used to travel all the time. And I'd have to call my mom from like my band director's phone or like my friends that had phones. And one day I was like, I'm not going to call my mom and just tell her I couldn't do it because I didn't have a phone. And I wanted a phone.
I'll tell you, before social media, man, before smartphones, I didn't have a cell phone until 7th grade. That's when my mom gave me one because I was going to Washington, D.C. And I forgot to tell my mom after school that I was going to go hang out at Tony's house. You know, Tony that's always calling my house. And so I just go straight from school. I'm 12 years old, so I'm going straight from school. Tony's like, you want to come to my house? I'm like, sure. You got bagel bites, pizza pockets? Let's go, right? So I go to his house, and I totally just get lost in the sauce. We're playing video games. We're hanging out. And I used to think Tony was rich, right? Because he had all the new systems. I was like at least 2 systems behind every system. So he was playing PlayStation 2. He had the GameCube. And I'm still playing Donkey Kong 64. So I'm hanging out with him. And then we're outside playing basketball. And then I get a phone call. And his dad comes out and says, Vlad, your mom's on the phone. And Angela's like... I'm like, oh, shit. I didn't tell my mom I was going to be here.
Uh-oh.
And so then I pick up the phone, and she's like, and in Creole, she's like, Vin la cara cuña. That means come to the house now. That was the longest walk home that I've ever taken in my life. And we don't even need to revisit what happened after that, but y'all can put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
So, anywho, I'm saying that because you need, like back then, if my mom had a phone and she knew how the technology worked, she would probably look me up and been like, get your ass over here. I still probably would have got my ass beat, but it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I say that to say that. But in talking about that, loneliness, right? Friendships, investing, divesting, adjusting. What is a friendship outside of your sibling relationship? What is a friendship that has stuck with you, that has actually stood the test of time?
I would say, and she's a friend of the podcast, Naya. We met the second day of college.
Second day?
The second
Orientation?
day. No, second day of class. Like she was in my Tuesday, Thursday class.
Got you.
And yeah, we've been through everything together. Yeah, she didn't have a Facebook. I helped her create her first Facebook, or her only Facebook that she's had. And for our, was it 3-year or maybe 2 or 3 year friendship anniversary, because again, we knew the exact day that we met. I made like this giant poster board, and it was literally all the messages on our Facebook walls back and forth that we've sent to each other.
Wow.
And she still has it in her room, like in the closet.
That's funny.
And I was like, Naya, look at this. Like so cute, like pictures of us and stuff. But yeah, she has a daughter, Zola. The girls love Zola. They are, like cousins. And she comes up here. We go to her house.
Wow.
I stayed at her house when I went to my brother's wedding in May.
Oh, that's what's
or
up.
in March. But yeah, so yeah, she's like one of my longest friends. And then I have 2 high school friends that I'm still pretty close with, but we haven't seen each other in a long time. But Naya, like we consistently see each other at least once a year.
That's
Yeah,
dope.
she went to Disney with
Does she have any
us.
kids?
She has one daughter, Zola. She's
Nice. Oh, Zola.
7.
Yeah, you're right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a year older than Alana.
That's so good. That's so good. I'm
Yeah.
glad that lasted for you.
Yeah, and I love, like, I love when my circles meet each other. So she's met Christine. I don't think she has met you guys yet.
Yeah, I don't know.
Only on the phone. Like, she's video chatted us before, and she loves to argue with you on YouTube.
Oh, wait. Is it the one that you were calling
Yeah,
one time? And
yeah,
then we were
she has
talking
short
about
hair.
it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I love. Naya, right? Yeah,
Naya.
She cool. She cool people, man.
Yeah. So yeah, that's like my longest friendship, and we'll go, like, we have a standing monthly like phone call. But we can go like weeks without talking, but we always like catch up and stuff. And she's not on social media like that. She only has YouTube. That's how she talks to the podcast. So it's not like, again, it's not someone that I send reels to. Like, I have friends that we're always constantly sharing reels with. But no, me and her just text and send pictures of the girls, and then we talk on the phone for a question mark amount of time once a month. Sometimes it's super long.
I want to hone in on that, right? You said they're friends you just talk to through social media, through
The reels.
Yo, reels can be their own language, to be honest.
They
with
really-
you.
they
Like,
really are.
It's just
They really are.
So does that constitute a friendship for you, though?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. To me, because it's friendships that I've had for years that I still also text with occasionally, but our main source of communication is reels.
Yeah. I'm seeing that more often too.
Yeah. And it is. It's like us. That's all you got to say, us. And it's like the reel is about us.
That's facts.
Yeah.
That's facts. Yeah, so for me, obviously, I've mentioned two of my best friends, Tony and David. At times, they've almost, how when you're in grade school, sometimes your friends, your best friends or your close friends kind of rotate on an axis depending on whose class you're in.
Yeah.
So in kindergarten, I actually spent 2 years of kindergarten with both of them. And
Vlad was in kindergarten for 2 years.
I was in kindergarten for 2 years because they told me that I was too young to move on to the next grade. And I think that was just 90s code for this boy got ADHD. Get him some help.
Yeah, and I was going to say, why, if your birthday's in March? It's not like you have that awkward summer birthday where it's like, oh, he's not ready.
Right. When I did the calendar math, Andrew, I'm like, this makes no damn sense. But when I did the neurodevelopmental math, I'm like, this makes complete sense.
Thank you, teachers.
Y'all should have kept me in preschool for second year too.
Yeah.
I was chilling. But so I had 2 years of kindergarten with both of them, and then I'd say grades 1 through 2, I was really close to Tony, and then grades 3 through 4, I was really close to David, and then grades 5, me and Tony had the same teacher, and rest in peace, Mrs. Spira. And then grade 6, I had Tony. He and I had the same 6th grade teacher, and then our school closed because of the No Child Left Behind Act. So then Tony left that school, the Harrington school. He went to another school, and then David and I picked up where we left off in 7th to 8th grade, and we were like really tight. But then David moved away. Freshman year, like halfway through the freshman year. So then I was like in a weird place because I had like no close friends anymore. But then eventually Tony and I are at the same high school. We come back, and then but I get a new best friend. So anyway, so many changes. Our relationships look different throughout the years, and I hadn't talked to David. I think we talked through social media back then, which was AOL, Instant Messenger, AIM. And so when I logged into one of my 13 instant messaging screen names, Dave and I would talk. But then I found out he lived 15 minutes from me because we moved to Everett, and then he moved to Medford. And then we picked up where we left off.
I love
and then
that.
Same thing. We graduated from college, from high school, and Tony and I hadn't talked for a number of years. And then we reconnected, I think, randomly in 2014. I went out to dinner with him. I think he was having a tough time in a relationship or something, so we bonded again. And then I didn't see him again for another, I don't know, 5 years or so.
Oh, wow.
I became his personal trainer, him and his wife. And yeah, so, it is possible for you to have, and they have a beautiful daughter. We just went to their birthday party. So it is possible for you to have those friendships stand the test of time, even when at different points in life you're not in the same life, when you're not in the same phase in life. But it requires concerted effort.
Yes.
And I remember throughout the years, before memes became so widely abundant and available, you really you had to text, you had to call. And before we had unlimited texting, like, you had to meet up with folks. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's possible to have those friendships last, but it has to be intentional, and it has to be, like you said, reciprocal.
Yes. And the biggest thing of all of this, Vlad, communication.
Yeah.
Okay. If you feel like you're in a different season in life, right, and you're kind of gradually kind of letting go of that friendship, and that person comes to you and tells you, like, yo, I feel like we're not connecting. I feel like we haven't hung out in a long time, blah, blah, blah. It's okay to tell them that, so they're not out here chasing you and you're over here leaving them on red. Like, be an adult about it, and just say, hey, I feel like we're going in separate directions. Like, maybe, you know, when we can recalibrate or do something, or I need to see you less because of this. Like, just be open and bring it up.
Right.
Put on your big girl panties, your big boy drawers, and do the thing. Have the talk.
Put on your boxer briefs.
Right. And
let's have a conversation.
And let's have a conversation, because that's also not fair to them if they're coming from a good place. It's not like the friendship is terrible or they did something to you. Like, the worst thing you can do is not communicate with someone, ignoring them.
Well, we live in an age where if you leave somebody on red, it's as good as calling them a bitch, right?
Right, because there's so many ways to communicate, and I'm over here messaging you and like, hey, we should talk, hey, we should do this, and then you're just ignoring me.
Or you don't send the appropriate emojis. So I'm over here lonely as hell because you didn't send that half-baked criticism with a laughing emoji. I'm hurt as hell, and we're not friends anymore. But as ridiculous as that sounds, that's what these kids are living in right now, right? So,
or okay, period. I heard that's bad.
Okay, period is a no-go.
Yeah, just okay.
Okay with no punctuation is not okay.
Yeah.
Okay with a punctuation is absolutely not okay unless it's an exclamation mark.
Okay.
Because exclamation mark after an okay insinuates that you're excited or you're agreeable.
The more exclamation points you send, the better. Right, Vlad?
Shit kills me, dude. This shit kills me. So my wife, Julie, Andrew's talking about my wife, Julie. And I don't know what kind of household they were raised in. I mean, obviously, I've been in the family for 13 years now, but everybody talks with exclamation points. It's like, hey, how was your day?
Right.
Let's go to the movie.
Right.
I'm going to get the popcorn. I'll pick you up. 6 o'clock. Sounds good. I'm like, yo, bro, can you chill out? Can you calm down?
When Vlad told me, I'm like, why does that bother you so much? But then he started doing it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, stop it.
Please hold me to task. If you see more than one exclamation mark in a 3-day period, ask for help, okay? Speaking about asking for help, I want to shift the focus now to something that you really feel passionate about. And when we're talking about adult loneliness and it being on the rise, we cannot not extrapolate or discuss male loneliness.
Let me tell you what I feel about the male loneliness.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
Before you say what you got to say, let's lay the groundwork for the male loneliness epidemic with some stats.
I don't know these stats, but hopefully I don't think they'll change my mind. But go.
I don't give a damn about those stats, boy.
Go read them, Vlad.
All right, check this out. May 2023, the U.S. Surgeon General issued a public advisory stating that loneliness is an epidemic affecting people of all ages in all populations of the United States. Okay, boom. That's just the groundwork. 2021, a couple of years before that, using data from the BBC Loneliness Experiment in 46,054 people, okay? That is the sample size. They concluded that males reported higher feelings of loneliness than females. Okay, you're making that face over there. It's true, okay? And in particular, adolescent and adult males were more likely to be lonely. And some researchers suggest that males may experience more social isolation, which differs from loneliness. Isolation versus loneliness, not the same thing, okay? But can be a big risk factor for loneliness. Now, social isolation assesses the structure in physical and digital connections to measure your separation from others. So in other words, it seems like men seem to report feeling lonelier. Now, I've been seeing this on social media where women are like, boy, that shit is fake.
Mad fake, and let me tell you why. It was created by the patriarchy to create a problem that men have now, because they're noticing, again, Angie's opinion, Angie Thomas, just me. They're noticing that there's a rise in feminism, a rise in women doing things, a rise in all these other issues, social issues are affecting these people, those people, whatever. And men, particularly white men, even though it affects all men, but white men are like, we need a problem. Male loneliness epidemic. We're lonely. We're isolated. Blah, blah, blah. That's what I think. And let me tell you something else. If you feel you have a problem, you know you have a problem, fix it. Guess what? Talk to someone. Therapy. There's so many ways to fix this problem, Vlad. And I'm not saying the men that have mental health issues that they don't know they have a problem and they're like, I'm feeling this way, I don't know why. Seek help, but you don't know why you're having this problem. But for the men that are like, it's the male loneliness epidemic, fix the problem then if you know what it is.
Okay.
Fake.
So here is my rebuttal to that. I don't disagree with you to a degree that patriarchy is cancerous, and men are also the victims and benefactors of patriarchy. Okay, so let me just put
Good
that
way
out
to
there.
say that, yes.
All right. However, this is what I'm going to say. For a man and a woman, because we said roughly 20% of adults conclude that they don't have any strong relationships outside of their family. We have to look at the way that we were brought up in society and what the expectations were. I remember in a previous podcast you said that women are always raised in the Caribbean to be good, dutiful wives, but men are never raised to be good husbands, right? What makes a wife dutiful, right? With the women, if you have sisters, they're all of you and your sisters were all probably raised with the same level set of expectations that you have to cook, you have to clean, you have to be dutiful, you have to submit, you have to all this other bullshit.
Yes.
Right. Men are only taught you need to succeed. Success doesn't require in that role. Success does not require connection. It requires an individual task of succeeding, achieving, overcoming, adapting until you do, until it gets done, and then you do it all over again. But men are not socialized. Like you told that story about how Alana and Arya are so cute, and they like on the bus, and they say and Arya has to go on the bus to say bye to Alana. But boys are raised so individualist. In such an individualist way that brothers are always fighting. That's the most time that we spend together is fighting. And that's not to say that they're not bonded. They love each other. Like I think some of the greatest bonds examples I've seen is my boy Dave and his brothers. Like they love each other, right? But men are not socialized to do that.
Yeah.
And so when a man comes forward and he says, I'm lonely, outside of feminism, that's a man who doesn't feel that he connects to other men. And this is what I realized when I was in crisis, because one of the questions that has come up on this topic is, well, why do men wait until they're in crisis to ask for help? And there's nobody in the world that wants to get to the point of desperation for them to actually ask for help. I think we all want the same things out of life. We want to be loved. We want to be accepted. We want to be celebrated. We want to be fulfilled. But men don't get to do that under the current parameters because success does not require connection. And the only connection that success does require are the transactional ones that get you to that individual goal of success, right? And so what I mean is that a man may only keep another man around so long as they're helping them to their end, right? Men will get together about sports. They could argue about sports all day. Men will get together about business. They can create businesses and talk money all day, but they won't get together around self-development, right? Not typically. And that is something that is shifting. So I think the movement with the epidemic of male loneliness is really men finally using their voices and their privilege to say, hey, yo, bro, we fucked this up. Like
thank you for saying we as in the men did this to themselves.
We are doing this to ourselves. We are doing this to each other. We're fucking this up. We're losing. Even though we're winning on the outside, we are losing. 4 out of 5 people who committed suicide are more likely to be males, right? Males are more likely to commit and succeed in suicide attempts. Why? are we having all these relationships and we're connected and dudes are going to football games and concerts and all this stuff and they can't see when their boys are suffering? And it's not because they don't know. It's not because the resources don't exist. It's that the resources aren't allowed. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, they don't feel like a man if they ask for help or they address that this is happening to them.
Yeah.
But again, if it's not being addressed, how did this term come to life then? Somebody had to create it.
It's being addressed now.
Yeah, now.
Right?
Now.
Now, that's not to say that there aren't men out there, these fringe dudes that I can't fucking stand, okay, that get on the internet and saying that feminism is the antithesis to the nuclear family, and that women actually standing up for their rights, having careers, starting families later. I saw a statistic the other day that women in their 40s are now surpassing, I think, women
like teen
pregnancies in birth rate. That is a good thing.
Yeah.
That is a great thing. I'm sorry, y'all. Don't get mad. Don't kill the messenger. But I think it's actually better that we're having kids later, because some of y'all be having kids at 19 and 18 acting like it's a swag, but y'all are kids raising kids. You could be in your 20s and still be a child raising a child, and you over here crying about, oh, why is everybody getting so old? I don't want no women over 40 and had no kids. That's a bad look. Nah, bro, you a bad look.
Yeah.
You a bad look for saying that. You a bad look for suggesting that it is not desirable to want to have more things in place, especially in a time like this where money is like inflation is here. Wage growth is here. Okay. And no matter what, for some reason, median wage growth has not grown in decades. Why not? It has not surpassed inflation. So people trying to get their shit together.
Yeah.
Can I get my shit together? Can I get it together, Angie? Can I do that? Okay. So anyway. Is the epidemic fake? Is it even an epidemic? I don't know. I do know that men are suffering. I do know that men are suffering in silence. I do know that men, to some degree, don't necessarily trust other men. And we need to change that. But we, as men, have to be the agents of change in that. We cannot blame women for feminism. We can blame ourselves for the need for feminism, right? There would be no feminist movement without a patriarchal movement.
And I love that, Vlad, because I recently saw a saying and I wanted to find it because I was like, that is so facts. It said, men didn't provide for women. They prevented women from providing for themselves. And now women have the autonomy. They have the means. We're able to open lines of credit for ourselves. And that wasn't even 40 years ago, Vlad, or I think it's 40 years ago now.
Yeah.
That we were able to do any of this, own a home by ourselves. So it's like men weren't providing for us. I mean, they were, but they were preventing us from even doing things for ourselves. But why wouldn't you want women to be empowered? If you have daughters, why wouldn't you want them to not have to rely on someone else for their own fulfillment and happiness?
And it's always been done.
Because it's always been done that way, right? So it's like, yes, the male loneliness, whatever. It's because, yeah, men are lonely. Women don't need you. And now you feel like, oh, I'm not needed. To your point, men don't feel needed. They don't feel successful. But what does it have to do with women? That has nothing to do with women.
So I think, to address that real quick, from what I've understood, men feel as though because women are far more socialized and empowered now than they were before, if a woman and a man are having an issue in their relationship that seems unreconcilable, they're more apt to just say, fuck it, I don't need you. I got my girls, right?
Yeah.
Now, there was a woman that went viral. I forget her name, man, but she went viral for saying that women actually don't need to be with men at all. Like, you can raise your children in a community of women and be all right. And I joined many of the men in saying, come again?
I mean... Is it ideal? No, I think kids need both parents, but if it's necessary, yes. Like, you don't.
If it's necessary, sure, but
to that same respect, Vlad, because the men are the way they are, do I think that a community of men could raise children alone? No. If you think about it, Vlad, no, I don't think that it's. They could, so just like women can.
What makes women more equipped to raise children by themselves and not men?
everything about a woman, Vlad. Like we're
what?
more social creatures. We're more in tune with our emotions for the things that kids need. If you think about it, now we can provide the emotional support, food, shelter, feeling wanted, apologizing to children. That's literally the 5 things that kids need.
Yeah, but men can do that.
Can most men do that, Vlad?
No, but if there's a community of men who, like I said, shout out the winning circle. We're in a winning circle right here. Shout out our winning circle. We winning, baby.
Different caliber, different caliber of men, Vlad.
You take that group of men,
yes,
and you put children within their
right.
sphere.
But guess what, Vlad? Women in general don't need a winning circle in order. You can take random women. And I'm going to say an 85% chance that they can do that, even with trauma, even with whatever's going on.
Perhaps.
You take random men, and you're not going to have the same success rate because not all of them are doing the work and being in the men's winning circle.
But there are plenty of women not doing the work either.
Oh, right. But even if they're not doing the work, Vlad, they will still push through and get it done and not make excuses like the women loneliness epidemic.
But pushing through and getting it done, whether you're male or female, does not equate to better outcomes.
Right, but the outcomes will still be better when it's women versus
not
men.
Necessarily.
Yes.
Have you seen Iyanla Van Zant? Have you watched that? Fix My Life, Iyanla?
Yes.
Have you seen? Oh my God, there was this one episode. Oh God, I wish I could find it. There's this one episode where she was addressing a single mother. And I feel like, and she was defending this man whose mother was literally trying to ruin his life.
Okay.
Because she was unhealed. And she said something that stuck with me so deep. She said, nothing will ruin a man worse than an unhealed mother. And I was like, God damn, that's true.
Yes, and I do agree with that, Vlad. But that one woman is few and far. That's one woman out of 1,000, or maybe 3 women out of 1,000. It's way more. It's way more men in that random population, is what I'm saying.
Do we know that for sure, though?
No, but society tells me so.
What? That doesn't make any sense.
No, just the society and how the world is just tells me that, Vlad.
Mothers are more nurturing.
Yes.
Mothers are more patient.
And we're willing.
On paper.
And we're willing. I feel like there's more women doing the work. That's why from just like a random subject of people, it's going to be more women that are healed versus men that are healed is what I'm saying. From like a random subset.
Well, based on what we've said so far, women are more likely and apt to be social. That's not the same thing as healing, though.
Right, but even so, let's take therapy out of it.
Oh, okay. So we're taking intervention all the way out of
all
this.
the way out of it. All the way out of it. Women are gonna, without outside help, just their circle of women helping women and being in community are more healed than men are.
Based on what? With no therapy.
Based on them being in community with each other and figuring things out and learning from each other.
Do you think it's possible for people, women namely in this example, obviously, but do you think it's possible for people to be in community? Because remember, we were just talking about loneliness and how loneliness can mean that you're in a group of people and still feel alone, right? Not have any commonalities, common views, or safety. Is it possible for women to be in community with each other and not be learning from each other, not be growing?
Yes, and it'll be not as... It can happen, yes. Okay. I'll just leave it at that. Yes, it can happen. But women are also more likely, Vlad, that if I see you kind of self-isolating and not communicating with the group, I'm going to say, hey, Vlad, or Vladia, what's going on? I've noticed that you're not as chatty, or you're not putting in, the same time as us talking about this. You didn't come out to dinner the other day. You haven't been coming on our walks. You haven't been, like, your kids are, you don't bring them around to the play dates. Like, what's happening? And we're going to dig because we know that it's something, because we know your pattern of being a person.
Sure, but why is that exclusive? Okay,
it's not exclusive to women.
I think you're talking about, obviously, the women, like the men who are not engaging in intervention because they're less likely.
Yes,
they're more likely to isolate socially because that's how they were socialized.
Yeah, I think this went left because I already think that it's fake. But yes. I will take ownership on that. No, the male loneliness epidemic is what I'm saying. I think this just went left because I do feel like it's something that could be solved. Like,
that doesn't make it fake, though.
It's fake to me.
That doesn't make it fake. So, like, cancer is something that can be solved. Does it make it fake? Absolutely not.
That's fair.
Single motherhood is something that could be solved. Does that make it fake? Absolutely
but
not.
I guess what I mean is it's something that they have control over. single motherhood, women don't control because you created this child with someone else. Cancer is a disease.
But what if wait, say that again? You said
what?
single motherhood?
Oh, yeah. It's not a problem that women alone can solve. The male loneliness epidemic, I feel like men have the onus and they can solve it if they put in the work themselves.
So let's flip the script, though. Let's say there was a female loneliness. Let's say that the data showed us that more women were reporting instances of feeling lonely and feeling unsupported and not having friends and confidants that they can get into, that they could rely on. If there was data that suggested that there was an epidemic targeting women more than it was men, would it be any more relevant?
Because women would see the facts and fix it. If it was something within our control, it would be fixed. Women been fixing shit, Vlad. Who gets in our way? The patriarchy.
Well, and here's an interesting thing that most people forget about the patriarchy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that behind every strong man, there was a mother who nurtured and raised him.
Mm-hmm.
And behind every married man who's successful, there's a wife that's either putting up with some bullshit or who has bolstered them throughout all of their hardships, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, in an ideal world, men and women would be equal. That's just not the world we live in. Hopefully, it's a world that our great, 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 great grandkids could live in.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're on the way.
Mm-hmm.
But in order for us to solve this, we have to legitimize the problem, right? And so my pushback, my gentle pushback, maybe it's not so gentle, okay? But my pushback is that if the data suggests that because it is mixed. There's mixed reviews. There's mixed data as to what the root cause of the male loneliness situation is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it is on men to solve. But if men could have solved it the way that society has been structured all this time, it would have been solved, right? Because it's nothing for a man to be in charge of a government, to have only other men in his ears and by his side and at his counsel, to start a war, to kill people, to bomb people. All wars have been started by men.
Mm-hmm.
And most of those wars, if they were resolved, were resolved likely at the command of another man.
Mm-hmm.
So to your point, I agree that men have the agency to solve it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to take a lot more than just men saying, well, yo, bro, we got to get together.
Well, that's another reason why I think it's fake, Vlad, because if men really were having this problem, men could fix it because they have the power to fix it.
But I feel like that's minimizing, though. You see what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's almost oversimplifying
something that's not so simple.
Right.
But again,
I think it's, I
they
agree
don't think
with
it's
you.
as important then. I'll put it like that.
Yeah.
They don't think it's top priority because it's only affecting, quote, quote, this caliber. I don't want to say caliber of men, but this subsect of men that, and again, this is Angie. I already think it's fake, but it's usually like men that don't care about women that are the lonely ones. They're on there.
No, I don't agree.
Yeah, I do. And it's like, what do they call them online?
Those are the loudest.
Incels. They are the loudest.
So yeah, and I think it's important to make a distinction, right, between the people who are the loudest in the movement versus the who are representing the rest of the people in the movement, right? And so the same could be argued for the feminist movement.
Right.
There are people who are loud on the front lines, and those people whose voices are heard loudest usually probably have the most polarizing opinions. But that doesn't mean that they're representative of everybody who is in agreement with those ideals, right? And so the loudest men who are saying that women are creating societies and lives and communities without us, and they're not giving us sex, and it's hard to date because women want a 6 feet 6 inches, 6 figures, 6 wheels. I don't even know what the wheels belong to, but you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
right?
We just want everything and want to take everything.
Same thing is, like, you can take any movement out there, take some fringe actors and be like, all right, man, you took it too far. Same thing with Black Lives Matter. Same thing with the Black Israelites. Don't even get me started on that dumb shit. Don't even get me started on that fuck shit. It makes no sense. Fight me in the comments about it. I don't give a fuck. But I just had to say that. But the point is, if we're gonna be a society as a whole, men, women, and in everybody, all people, then all people have to be on board with solving the problem. And I think it starts with us realizing, like, you know what, this is a problem with men. So what do we do about it, right? How can women support? Because everybody stands to benefit from men solving this fake problem. Why? Because that male loneliness epidemic, if you are married to a man who is lonely, that man is not connecting with you. That man is not opening up to you. That man has no other friends, and he's taking out his loneliness on you, right?
But listen, Vlad, listen. If a lonely man is married, he's lonely by choice, because I guarantee you that when that woman married him, she chose to marry him because she felt like she would be a safe place for him, depending on how long they've been married, whatever. So it's like he's had plenty of opportunities to open up and have a safe place to land and all that, and he hasn't chosen to. Why is it always the women's responsibility now to do all this for some man? I feel like women are doing their part by now. Today's society and like the friends that I have that have sons are raising them to be better communicators. They're doing their part by making the next generation not be shitty and not talking and not being lonely.
Now,
so that's what women are doing.
Let me ask you this.
We already do enough.
Do you feel like women, because we're all socialized to believe the same things about men and women, do you feel like women are also affected by this patriarchal standard that men have to meet?
What do you mean, like that they have to provide and do all that? Yes and no.
And not producing a safe place to land. Quotes.
I think yes, because I think initially when you are raised, that's what you think a man is. Also depending on how your dad was in raising you and how he was as a person. But I think also in growing up, you want your spouse to talk to you, and you open that door and you share your heart, and you're like, share yours. And if that's not being reciprocated, so that's like, okay, so then you're not talking to me, and now you're telling the world you're lonely. But I've been here this whole time.
Well, but here's this. Check this out, though, and this is what I want you to think about, right? If, say we're in a relationship and we've been taught the same things and we subscribe to those societal standards, right? You are supposed to be my adoring, submissive wife. Cook, clean, meal prep for me every Sunday, and have my shit ready. And I'm supposed to go outside and bring the bacon home and make sure that you're fed, make sure that you're clothed, make sure that we live in a nice neighborhood, make sure you have health insurance, all that stuff. If a man is being told, right, if we both subscribe, right, in this scenario, how can I be encouraged to talk if what I am expected to do in providing requires the exact opposite? Because in order for a man to be provided, it was never told a man had to be emotionally intelligent. He just had to provide. It actually reduced the man's humanity to what he can produce rather than what he can experience, right? So if I'm doing that, why it's not within the societal norms for me to open up to you. But now we're realizing, because society is evolving, thank God. Although if you see the news lately, I'm not really convinced that we're evolving all that much. I feel like we're devolving.
We got pockets of de-evolution.
Okay, we are de-evolving. I feel like a Digimon right now. I'm devolving back to whatever Pokemon, whatever I was, Abumon, probably whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Shout out Digimon. I love Digimon. So yeah, if that's what we're both told, I think we're realizing now that we all have been duped.
But in realizing that, Vlad, then you know that there's a problem. If you're just living life happy-go-lucky, not communicating with me, and I'm over here happy-go-lucky just being a trad wife, there is no problem for us to try to solve.
Exactly.
But if you wake up one day and you're like, you know what? I feel lonely and I'm in a house full of people. Let me talk to the person closest to me, my wife, and see what's up. You know what I mean? Or this should not be the way that we're living. Like, have that conversation. But that's when you realize there is a problem.
Right. And I think if a man is actually able to say, I can identify this problem and here's what I want to do to fix it, then that man is not going to be on the front line saying there's a male loneliness epidemic. They'll be in agreement, but those are the people who actually have the agency to do something about it. Whereas maybe the voices that you're hearing are the men who are just shitty people.
Yeah.
all day and every day. And, you know, maybe the Nick Fuenteses of the world, maybe the Andrew Tates of the world. Fuck those guys.
Yes.
But maybe you're one of them. And anything that they say is delegitimate, is illegitimate in my book. And so they don't speak for all men any more than any fringe character would speak for all women, and any fringe black person could speak for all Africans.
Exactly.
Right? So then that brings us to the solution, right? Like, what is it that we can do to not only tackle the male epidemic, but the human loneliness, the adult epidemic of loneliness? Here's something you could do. Because we talked about social media being a deterrent for authentic relationships.
Yes.
It can also be the solution. It can put you in connection to communities of support. Like, yo, bro, I am connected to many men, but I'm also connected to many organizations that help support people with common threads. So you might feel lonely because you don't know if there's anybody else out there that knows what it's like to be a survivor of domestic violence or sexual assault or poverty or any of those other things. There's so many affinity groups. Your organization that you work for has affinity groups. They have CRGs. Find one.
Yeah.
Find one. And don't find one when you need a problem. Find one before you need a solution.
And build the community to kind of help you and support you when that problem does come.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Be what's the word? Be not reactive, but proactive. Be proactive and have that ready to go before the problem arises.
Right. There's I said something the other day on my men's call. And you know, sometimes you just, because you're in the right environment with the right people in the right time in the right frame of mind, something just flows through you.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Dude, was that me, or was that, you know, supernatural? Like, what happened? And the question of the day, you would appreciate this, Angie. The question of the day for the men's call was, what is one thing that you're doing to help support your wife and solve the problems? I'm just paraphrasing, right? And I was sharing how that morning, as I was on this call and I'm getting Lito ready, and Jules comes downstairs and she says, "Wow, you're super dad today." And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Well, you woke Lito up, you packed his lunch, and you took Bella out. Like, what's going on?" I was like, "But first of all, what are you implying? You implying I don't ever do that shit? Because I do it."
Yeah.
And we just switch off. But you know, I was happy to share that. And it's like, okay, what's one thing you're doing? And I said, the thing that I'm doing is I'm anticipating the solution before the problem arises. And so for the men that are watching this and it's like, well, you know, I think my wife just packs better lunches. I think she just gets my son or my daughters dressed. One of the guys on the call, shout out to Nate, who runs these calls with Arsenio, he said, I just went on YouTube last week and I learned how to lock my daughter's hair.
Aww.
And so I learned how to, like, I spent, I don't know how many hours on YouTube learning how to lock her hair. So now I can feel proud. I'm locking her hair now. And I'm like, yo, bro, this is what's up. This is what we need right here. We need more dudes talking about, I just locked my daughter's hair. I just packed my son's lunch. Like, because here's the thing. Most men don't think that stuff is necessary. It's not in their lane. And it's like, yo, bro, whatever helps the household helps everybody in the household. Yeah. So if it helps your child, it helps your wife. If it helps your child, it helps your husband, vice versa. So anticipating the solution before the problem arises. And in other words, stop waiting to be told to do something. Stop waiting to be asked for help. Yeah. Use your eyes. A lot of men they become so comfortable that they stop studying their wives. They stop listening between the commands, right? They're just hearing, we need to do this, we need to do this, instead of hearing, I would like this, I would like this.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like, for God's sakes, like, I don't have no sympathy. You need to get in there in the minutia. If you're going to be married to this person for the rest of your life, you need to know them like the back of your ass crack, okay? And the back of your hand, because I guess you can't really see your ass crack. But
Vlad said, like, every crevice you got.
We've been talking about diarrhea and poop for too long.
But I do like that, Vlad. I recently saw, again, reel on Instagram because my doom scrolling at night. But it was a guy, and he's like, fellas, you need to be touching your wife more than you touch your phone. Because then he went on his apps thing, and it said he was online for 8 hours. And he's like, I got to play catch up. Because literally, go on there, and it tells you how long you've spent on every app. And then take a mental calculation of how much time you spent with your family. Your wife, the children, the family pet.
You know, Angie, you know something I'll be willing to try? Maybe you and I can do this for like a month, and then we could talk about it. Yeah. There is a service that allows you, I think it like transfers your contacts to a flip phone. It's like a dumb phone.
Oh, like a brick? No, that's like stops your phone. Okay.
Kind of, right?
Okay.
But it essentially allows you to stay in touch without being on social media, something like that. So it's like you have a flip phone and it's kind of smart, but it's kind of stupid. But it essentially mirrors what life was before we had the world at our fingertips.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to look it up and we're going to tell y'all how it is. We might put together a challenge for you and for us, but for you as our viewers to go no contact with social media for a season. Do it for like a day, a week, whatever it is. I like that idea because, yo, dog, you and I sent I don't know how many reels to each other, laughing our faces off. And a lot of times I'm sitting here showing Jules, and she's like, that's not that funny. But sometimes we do, right? But you're like, yo, dog, we can get over a lot of these issues. We're talking about loneliness and stuff. You can. I don't know how else to say this, Angie, but sometimes the loneliest places I can be in any given day is on social media, doom scrolling. You're not connected.
No.
You just dopamine. By the time you see your wife or your partner, you're starved, you're dumb, you're just, I don't even want, you just want to disconnect.
Exactly.
So,
but yeah, I like that. I like that challenge. So do that too, guys. Get off the phone. Stop being lonely or whatever. Fake lonely, as I like to say.
Oh my God.
Fellas, stop being fake lonely out here.
Yo,
Go
bro,
touch grass.
We done talked the entire episode and we still fake.
Fake.
All right, guys and girls and humans of all creeds, do us a favor. Let us know in the comments. I got a two-parter for y'all. Here's the 2 questions I want y'all to answer in the comments. When was the last time that you genuinely felt lonely or connected? And second, is Angie right about the fake epidemic? Because we need.
Let me know,
fellas. Y'all are quiet in our comment section, so get up in there. All my brothers, all my people say, is the epidemic based on falsehoods or is it based on real data that requires real action? Let us know in the comments. All right, and make sure that while you're in there doing that, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, share, and get your stuff together. Get rooted in what is necessary. It's your boy Vlad the Bull, your number 1 East Coast.
And Angie, la cyber mommy.
We are out of here.
Stay rooted.